Hi folks, Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and welcome to Stamping and Creating with Fiona. Apologies that this is a day later than planned. To have one of those weeks, you know, when everything's sorted and you know what you're doing and you have everything planned out, and then one thing just sort of upsets the apple cart, which kind of was happened yesterday. Nothing serious, luckily. Just one of those days that we ended up having to go do stuff other than stamping. How dare other stuff encroach on my stamping? But hey, there you go. Anyway, so I'm just checking to make sure that this is live, and it is. That's good. So today I'm going to share with you a little project, and I've started cutting it already, and I'm going to be using the Garden Birdhouses stamp set. I was looking at my collection of stamps earlier, and I've suddenly realised that heaven forbid that this stamp set's never been used. So I thought it was about time that I got it out and used it. So that's what I'm going to be using today, along with some 6x6 paper from the Butterfly Kisses paper pack. Being 6x6, it means you get 48 sheets. So you get 4 of 12 different designs. And with the name Butterfly Kisses, I'm sure you can imagine that there's a lot of butterflies involved in here. So I'm just going to show you quickly the papers. So yep, we've got lots of butterflies, flowers, all sorts of flowers. But as I said, lots of butterflies. More flowers. This is the bit of paper I'm using today. We've got butterflies, we've got small butterflies, we've got big butterflies, we've got other sets of big butterflies and also some small butterflies. Now the paper coordinates with Calypso Coral, Fresh Freesia, Starry Sky, which is one of the new in colours, Parakeet Party, which is another new in colour, and also, did I say Crush Curry? Calypso Coral? I may have done. Anyway, so that was one side, and then the other sides are various geometric or leafy designs. Actually, maybe that should have been the other way around, but hey. So we've got all sorts of Crush Curry, we've got Starry Sky. I like this bit. I like the diagonals on this, and little flowers, wavy lines, or big dots, not dots, dashes. Some check spots, more spots, and some, I guess you could call them butterflies, but I think they're like little V's or little hearts. So anyway, the paper's very cute. It is designed to go with bundle, the paper, but I don't have it, heaven forbid. There's things that I don't actually have. So it's actually designed to go with the Best Butterflies bundle. Don't have that, as I just said. But this is what it looks like in the catalogue. So there is the stamp set, and then there's lots of dies. It might just make its way onto my wish list, but at the moment it's not, but I do love the paper. So I'm going to have to wait and see. And then the stamp set, as I said, is the Garden Birdhouses. So we have a selection of different bird houses. Obviously little birds come in handy. Tree branch and some flowers, and then some nice sentiments. So that's what I'm going to be using today. And I thought I'd go a little bit different. I was watching YouTube the other day, heaven forbid, and I was watching a lady by the name of Lisa Curcia. She's one of the big Stampin' Up! Demonstrators over in the US, and she was making cards with acetate, or window sheets as we call them in the Stampin' Up! World. The one that she had made was a square one, and it was all acetate. But I'm not going that far today because I actually wanted to use some paper and other bits and pieces as well. So I've already gone ahead, and what I've done is I cut myself a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock. So if you can use your imagination, the piece that I cut out is here. This was started off as an A4 sheet, so I just simply cut it in half at 14.9. Scored it at 10.5, and then I cut off a piece. And then from the piece that I cut off, I then cut off a strip. So the strip measures, and I can tell you now, at 2.5 centimetres. I also then cut two strips of Starry Sky. So this one should just be 2 centimetres, so that will go down here. The 3 centimetres may go up there. It's cut, but I haven't made up my mind yet. And then this is some of the 6x6 paper that I've cut up. So this is just under 2 centimetres, so it's like 1.8. Because I only wanted a little border to go on this, and it's only going to go from side to side and then onto here. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I also have a piece of the window sheet. So it's acetate. I didn't cut a whole piece the same size as that, simply because it's going to get adhered behind this and behind that. So we will still have top and bottom will still be a cardstock, and then you will have a clear piece going through the middle. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. So I'm going to get some tear tape, and I'm simply going to fix that to the bottom of the window sheet. I will put all the measurements up, so don't worry about it. And then you can replicate, or at least use it as a basic for making your own card, even if you don't have the stamp set and things. So I've put two strips on here, and then I'm also going to put a strip on the top of this. Oops, let's not use that piece. That it will fit in here, and that this will overlap. So I'm going to start by just putting the acetate on. So I've removed that strip, and then I have the cardstock here that I've also removed. And I'm simply going to then place the piece of cardstock for the bottom onto the acetate, so that I know then that this is fixed on, and it's not going to go anywhere. And by fixing it to the acetate and then also to the top of the cardstock, it's not going to come apart, and it's also not intruding into here either. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again with the top. So I've already got my piece on the top of the top edge of the acetate. So I'm just going to put another piece along the edge of the cardstock. I do believe in belts and braces when it comes to this sort of thing. You could use Stampin' Seal Plus. You could, I guess, use your liquid glue. I would rather not. I think I would rather just stick with the tape for this, simply because if you get your glue anywhere near the rest of the acetate, it just makes a horrible mess. Even though you wipe it off and you do your best, it will still leave a bit of a gunky mess. And then you end up having to get acetone out, and you don't really want to be doing that. So it's just easier to keep away from it in the first place. So I'm just going to turn the card around so that the acetate is actually at the top, because it's then easier to make sure that it's lined up, and it's also easier then to just fold up the bottom. So make sure that everything is lined up on here. You don't want to end up with having it all wonky, and then you're just simply going to fold that up till it meets the acetate. Oh, I think I've got a little bit of tape here that's sticking out, so I'm going to quickly trim that, because we don't really want that to be sticking to anything else. And then it also looks like the top's okay. The acetate is out slightly. I'm going to trim that up, but I think I'm actually going to hide that anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it too much at this precise moment in time. Okay, so that is going to be my base card. Yes, the fold is going to be at the top. You can, of course, also turn the card around and have it going the other way. You will find that if you are doing this and it's a card that's folded, the acetate will always have to run parallel to where your fold is. You can't have a landscape card. Well, you could, but it would be a lot of not very easy to sort out. If your landscape goes across there, you will be having to cut out chunks of cardstock. So it's just a lot easier to have your acetate running in parallel with your fold on the card. So that's that bit done. I think I'm going to trim this, just because it's going to annoy me otherwise. So if I have it folded down, then I can just simply trim it. I think that's it. There we go. Such a tiny little amount came off. Okay, so there's that. Then we have the piece to go on the bottom. So I'm simply going to glue my paper on. This is a new bottle, so it shouldn't be too hard for it to come out. So I've actually been using this paper this week because I have a class this coming weekend and we're going to be using it in the class. So it was sitting on my desk and it just seemed another lovely opportunity to use it. So the Starry Sky cardstock on here is only slightly wider than the paper, which was my intent, in case you were wondering. And I know the paper's slightly longer than the Starry Sky, but that's okay because that can be trimmed off as well. So I'm just going to put this on here, like so. Try and get it parallel going all the way across. Oops, did that slip? No. May not have been straight in the first place, but hey, it's pretty close. And I'm just going to turn it over again and cut those pieces off. Now, if you don't like being able to see the acetate on the inside of the card, you can always simply cut some more cardstock to go over that. So for example, I could put that piece of Starry Sky there, which I had originally cut for the thing, and then obviously you can then put another piece on the bottom as well. But it's really up to you. So I think that for the moment is going to be the base card. And now I'm going to do some stamping and some colouring and some fussy cutting, I think. So I'm just going to pop that to one side for the moment. And I'm going to bring in the stamp set Now, so we have a variety of different birdhouses. And I think I'm just going to use this little one here. So it's this one here. And because I'm going to use my intention is to use my Stampin' blends. I'm going to use Memento ink to stamp everything. And I think we're going to want, maybe we'll put it on a pole. Let's stamp it first and see what happens. See how it looks. I did have some scrap white. And it looks like that's going straight. Hey. So let's cut myself a piece of white. Bear with me 2 seconds. Actually, no, I just found my scrap. That's good. It's easy having to cut some more. So I've got a scrap piece of basic white, and I'm going to stamp on there using, as I said, my Tuxedo Black Memento. The reason we use this Memento is because it's water-based, whereas the Stampin' blends are alcohol-based. And you want to make sure that whatever medium you're colouring in, that you don't want that to be the same as what you're stamping in. So hence we've got water-based, and then, as I said, the blends. So I've got my blends. So these are the colours that are designed to go with the paper, with the exception of crushed curry, because we don't have a crushed curry well, I do have a crushed curry Stampin' Right marker. So let's see, what are we going to do? We can go completely over the top with this. So actually, yeah, I'm just going to do a greenhouse. Like so. I think I'm going to make the door the lovely thing about this is you can colour this as much or as little as you want. What colour are we going to do there? I think we're going to do a Calypso Coral roof. Actually, I'm going to use the other end. So I've got the dark Calypso here. That's his roof. Base, I think I will do that Calypso as well. I'm just going to use a little bit of Starry Sky just to go in that little gap there that I've over the door. So that's my birdhouse. So I'm going to cut him out. Nice thing about this one is that it's lots of straight lines, so you don't have to worry about weaving in and out. So it should be pretty quick to cut. And sometimes if there's a little overhang, you just forget about it. Cut it off. But you didn't hear me say that. It's a bit like cutting cats and dogs or something. Sometimes you just sort of want to cut a whisker off because you really don't want to be having to go around it. Let's see, that's that. Let's trim that a bit more. I'm going to bring my card back. So I have a house. Maybe Calypso Coral wasn't such a bright idea when it came to the roof, but hey, such is life. Could do it completely different colour. Maybe we'll stamp another one. We'll have 2 birdhouses. Where's my ink? There it is. And this time we won't use Calypso Coral on the roof. We can have, oh, I could just use crumb cake, which would be, or we could have, I'm going to use my crushed curry marker. Now the markers are different to the blends because the markers are the same ink that is in the ink pads. So it does mean that you will probably end up with some streaks on your colour when you're colouring, because they don't blend like the alcohol markers do. That's that. I think this time I'm going to do this part here. I'm not quite sure whether that's supposed to be a bird coming out of the door, the hole there, but I'm not, so I'm just going to colour it like that. Let's see. That's that. Forgot my crushed curry. You could, of course, just use Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blend. That would work just as well. And I'm going to use Fresh Freesia for this portion. And although we call these Stampin' Blends, you can just simply use them for colouring, like I'm doing. I'm not actually blending my colours together. I'm just using them full on. This time I'm going to use a light Calypso Coral. I think the dark will be too dark for that little door. There we go. And cut this one out. Like so. So yeah, so I've got classes coming Saturday, which is exciting. So it's first class with the new catalogue. I have an all-day class next month in July, and you can either come for all day or you can just simply book for the morning or afternoon sessions. So we're going to be using Wisteria Wishes in the morning and Sun Prints in the afternoon. So here we go. So we've got 2. Now I think I'm going to have to put these up on poles. So that's the other thing that I need to do, is I need to stamp a couple of poles, or we could, yeah, no, we need to have them on a pole because I don't want to be trying to use StazOn to stamp on the acetate. Sorry, I was trying to see stuff and it's just not happening today. So if you've made comments, apologies, I can't see it. because for some reason my laptop is not playing ball. Don't know why, but hey. Right, okay, so when it comes to thin photopolymer stamps like this, you do need to be careful, because if you put your stamp to your block, you will not necessarily get it in one straight line. You could end up like just a second ago, having a bit of a curve on it. So what I suggest you do is you actually just put it down directly on your surface, on the surface. Just leave it a second and then pick it up with your block, and then it should be perfectly okay and nice and straight. So I need to stamp 2 poles. Hopefully this is going to be long enough, I think. And the other thing with photopolymer stamps is that they don't have the same give as the red rubber do, because the red rubber has a cushion of foam on them. So it's always good to have something soft beneath your stamping surface. So I have a big piece of foam, just thin foam, that I brought back from the States a while back, and so I use that. Or sometimes I use my Stampin' Pierce mat. That works just as well too. So now I'm just going to colour this. I'm going to use this is dark crumb cake. I'm going to assume that this end down here is the ground. So I'm just going to cut these, and because if I use that darker bit there as the ground for the ground end, then I can trim the top if I think it's too long. Alternatively, you're just going to glue it behind the birdhouse, and the birdhouse will hide. Just going to give that a bit of a curve on that end. Right. Higher up, because that's going to be plenty long enough. So I'm going to do that. Now, the best way of sticking this is going to be, well, I would say dimensionals, but then you will see those. So I'm thinking that what you're going to want to do is you'll want to I quite like that. Or we could put that on, and a different piece. What's on the reverse side of that? That's a bit not really what I want. About pieces like this. That might work actually. So let's cut this. So So I'm pretty certain that this is 3 centimetres. Let's move these blends out of the way. So that's, yep, 3 centimetres. So I want this to be just under 3, so I'm going to cut it at 2.8. Now I'm going to the to the right hand side of my trimmer, simply because then I know I've got the whole of this butted up against here, and I know it's not going to move. So it's a nice way of actually being able to make sure that your paper or cardstock is going to stay where you want it. Now I do have my triangles going left to right, or right to left, depending on which way I want to put it. But that's okay, it doesn't bother me. I know some people it would. So I'm going to put that up here, like that. So I'm going to glue that on. Oh, so I was telling you about next class in July. So if you go to oakvilleCrafts.com, and then at the very top it will say classes, kits. If you click on there, there is a pop down, which will then give you a pop down that says classes in person and online. So the all-day one, actually, I'm not doing an online event for it. I'm just sticking with my in-person event for that. But other classes where they are a morning class, they are available as online options on another day. So the online options will be Friday evenings rather than Saturday mornings, and completely different week. So, right, okay, so I've now got I'm going to put this on here. So I'm actually just going to adhere the top and the bottom, so that that's what sticks to the paper. And I don't actually have anything sticking to the acetate. And then I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to put that on. And again, I'm only going to put the dimensionals behind the top, which is going to go on the paper. So that's going to go on here, like so. And then the other one, because anyone spotting it? I know it's here somewhere. I did it. Oh dear, this is crazy. There it is. So this one, I'm going to have it further down, and then the birdhouse can come further down, I think. So that's literally going to be, so the end is fine, that end, that's the base is fine, but this top bit only needs a tiny bit because it's coming further down and almost off. So it's going to go on here like that. So, and that is going to come down here. Oops. Now, if you really don't mind seeing the dimensionals through the back of the acetate, then obviously you can go to town really and just put as many on as you want to. But I'm going to try and keep it so that you can't see them too much. So you can see one, but who at the end of the day looks from the inside of the card out like that. So that's that piece. Now I could add birds, I can add all sorts of things. I need to put a piece in this inside the card. And then the idea is that you will see the sentiment through the acetate. So I want a piece of basic weight. This time I will have to cut it. So when I'm cutting my cardstock, I always, first off, I will cut it in half. So in this case, I'm cutting it 4.85. Then I always know that I have a full half piece of cardstock. And then I will work on the other half or quarter or whatever. Now I know that I'm going to be cutting this so that it's a ½ centimetre narrower and longer. So instead of having 10.5, it's 10, and instead of 14.9, it's going to be 14.4. So that will fit just nicely inside. Now if I want to decorate it, I can put a strip of paper along the bottom. So I think I will do that. So I'm only going to make it like 1.5 centimetres, because then when the card is closed, you won't see it because it'll be hidden by this strip here. So I'm going to put that on here. Now this again will be slightly longer than I need, because I've just basically cut right across a piece of paper that is 6 inches wide. So that's that. So that will go inside my card here. And as I said, you won't see it. So it'll go in like that. When the card is closed, it's hidden. But what I do want though is to put my sentiment here. So we have, I think I'm going to use "Hope each moment of your day is as special as you are," which my stamps are not in there. And here they are. You have to be careful with these photopolymers, and they have a habit of disappearing. So I know that that will fit there quite nicely. I'm just going to take that off and put it on here, I think. Now, $64 million question is, what colour am I going to stamp it in? I think I'm going to stamp it in Starry Sky. I've got my Starry Sky ink pad. Now this is where I need to kind of eyeball it and figure out where it is that I'm going to go. So it's going to be roughly here. Remember, I haven't stuck this in yet, so if needs be, I make a mess of it, I can just simply remove it and do another one. Although I could actually probably fix it. Right, I'm going to hope that this is going to be in the right place. So I hope each moment of your day is as special as you are. Let's see now. Yes, there you go. Okay, I'm happy with that, so I am going to glue that in. Like so. Try and make sure that it's top, bottom and sides are all got the same gap on. So that's going to go here. And then actually I think I might put in the birthday wishes over here. So birthday wishes, turn it up so I can actually see which is that one. And very handily got a piece of scrap that will fit it perfectly. Stamp that on here. So we'll just you could just keep it all straight, or you could actually cut all the way around each letter as such. I think that needs to have a bit taken off it. Oops. This is where my cutting goes wonky. Use that. So I think I might put it here or here. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Now, you know what, I am going to put it here on some dimensionals. You're not going to see it. Let's use a large one and a small one to go in that smaller gap. Like so. That's that. So we can finish it off. I mean, I could add birds, I could add some grass. Given that I've already been here 45 minutes and I know your time is precious, then I could put some ribbon on it. Maybe we'll put some ribbon, tie it around the top, let's see, just to finish it off. So this is the, she says, the Whisper White sort of called steam binding. It's really nice because you can so use it so easily. It just sort of does what you want it to do. Makes some very sweet bows. I do think it needs to go under the birdhouse though. Ordinarily, I would have put this on before if I'd thought of doing it, but then I didn't really realise that I would actually need something there. Let's see if I can get this to tie. Yep, there we go. So just pretend that I did that before. And then normally what I would do is I would tie it around this strip here before I put it on. So there we go. So that's my finished card. I've yet to do the envelope, but I will share a photo of that later. I'm going to use the Stampin' blends, and I'm also, one thing you do need to remember when you do Stampin' blends is make sure you put something inside so it doesn't bleed all the way through. Okay, so that's my card using the Garden Birdhouses stamp set and the Butterfly Kisses designer series papers. I hope you've enjoyed watching that. Please leave a comment and I will get back to you. Linda, no comments, but now I have. So Yeah, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So this video will post as soon as I've finished it. It'll get posted onto Facebook, and then I will also upload it to YouTube when I get a moment. So a couple of quick reminders. The kit collection, the buy one get 50% off, that ends on the 30th. So you have a few more days to go, about a week. Believe it or not, crumbs, one more week and we're at the end of June. That's just kind of crazy. And also the retirement list for the January to June catalogue will end on the 30th of June too. So see you next week for another Stamping and Creating. Card the Cuppa is in July, is on the 6th of July, so we have another couple of weeks before that. But as I said, I will be back next week with another Stamping and Creating. So take care. Bye.